it's their first time here in this meeting. We are an official UW RSO that focuses on hosting UX-focused workshops, and we don't have any formal memberships, so there's no fees. You can just show up to our meetings. And let me pass the mic on to our guest speaker, Swati, who's going to lead our workshop on deceptive patterns in UX.
Perfect. Can I share my screen?
Mhm.
Also, is my audio and video clear? Because sometimes that's an issue.
Yeah, your audio and video is good here.
Okay, just give me 1 second to settle in.
Mhm.
Let me know whenever you start seeing it.
Yeah, we can see the screen.
Okay. Just 1 second. Do you want it to be like full screen? It says it's full screen. Just 1 second.
We can see it's all full screen.
Okay, perfect. Then I can start. Perfect. So hi, everyone. How are you? Today we are going to discuss what dark patterns are and why are they interesting and why are they constantly becoming a topic of discussion. And you might not be able to see it. So in case you are not able to see it, ask your mom. She would be able to help you there. And let's see. So what are we going to do today? So we will be starting with UX, as in what UX is, so that we have a basic foundation of where are we coming from. I understand we are all HCD professionals. I might assume that other people are also joining from other departments, but in general sense, we have an idea of what UX is. So we would not be diving deep into that part, but we would be diving a little bit into dark patterns. And because it is a very vast topic, I might not be able to cover everything and might have to make it a 2-part series. So in the third part, we can just have some future discussions, and lastly, we can have a summary and a question and answers. And in case you have any questions, I mean, I understand there's a question and answer section, but in case you have any questions wherever in the talk, just raise your hand and let me know, because that's how I work. I cannot contain my questions in, so I would also prefer that if you ask me questions then and there. So let's move forward. Okay, so again, hi, I'm Swati and I'm a first year HCDE student, a master's student, and I honestly don't want to be a second year very soon. So I'm still enjoying the phase. I feel that I'm still learning a lot about UX, and dark patterns in itself is a topic of my interest and I love exploring about it. Crying is my immediate reaction whenever I see a dog. And in case you have pets, just please invite me and I'll come and pet your dog or cat or any other pet. I pray every day for Seattle to be sunny. So in case you didn't see sun today, it's because God didn't listen to me and it's all my fault. So today in this session, what we are going to do is we're just going to initiate a discussion on dark patterns. We might not be able to cover everything. So we are just going to at least initiate a conversation. And again, in case you have any questions, just let me know. So firstly, what is UX and what do we mean by UX? Let's take a step back from dark patterns and try to discuss why we need to discuss this very topic. So user experience is the relationship between a product and the audience using it. Now the product could be anything. It could be a physical product, it could be a digital product, it could be a service, and the person can also be like, it could be any person, it could be a non-person thing. It's just the relationship between how one person is using a product, which could be like anything. Now, while we talk about UX, there are 3 things which are very prominent in the discussion of UX, which are that how the product is communicating with the users, how much creative thinking you have applied, how much critical thinking you have applied. So if I have to give you an example of like a pen, this might be a very poor example, but let's start with it. If I see a pen, it has two parts. I can see this pink little thing and I can see this white little thing. So it tells me that these are two different things, and this is the curve, and this piece feels like I can pull it out. And now this gives me a pen with which I can write. If I again talk about something like this stick, this is my like pretty dirty mascara stick, but if you see that if this is a plain rectangle stick and I cannot find the intersection over here, I might not be able to figure out that these are two parts and I have to pull it because there's no communication about it. But in this pen, it's the communication is very clear. Now what is sorry,
Super Bowl commercials? They're usually the ones that are telling stories.
oh yeah, totally. So you need to tell a kind of, I'm just confused. Just wait 1 second. Perfect. Let's continue. So yeah, you need to tell a story. You need to have a communication. You need to tell the clients what you're trying to do. Secondly, what is creative thinking? So creative thinking is adding something to a product which makes it different than the rest of the products available in the market. For example, this is a marker pen. What I can do is I can add something like a duster or a scrubber, which you use to clean the whiteboards. So if I add it back here, which some products actually do, I can use the marker and rub it along with it. This is creative thinking, which is like adding something additional to it. But what is critical thinking? Critical thinking is how creative you can get and how do you limit your creativity. For example, if I can put a scrubber over here, I can also put a candy over here. But would it be logical to put a candy? It might not be, because if the marker is lying on the table, it's lying on the floor, it might get dirty and it's not a logical thing to do. So that's critical part of it. So whenever you're designing a product, you have to think like about all these three criterias. And yeah. Okay. So why do we care about it, and why should we make the user experience good? So user experience can make or break the success of a business or a brand because it dictates how its customer would feel when they're using the product. So when a customer is coming to you and you're providing them an experience, it could be a physical product, digital product, service, anything. So whenever they are using your product and they are like leaving after using your product, there could be majorly two feelings. There could be many feelings in between, but I'm speaking about two major categories, which is like either they would be satisfied with your product or they would leave frustrated. Now that totally depends on how you design your user experience. And when the user using your product is happy, they would engage with your products. So suppose I go to a website in which I have to complete a task. If the website is engaging enough, I would be able to complete a task and I would be satisfied with whatever I wanted to do. And because I had a good experience, I would come again to the website to repeat my actions. For example, let's say Amazon or some other shopping platform. I'm able to complete my transactions on time. They gave me a good delivery and now I'm happy with the product. I'm pretty satisfied. I might go again back there just because I had a good experience. And what is retention? Third part is retention. Retention is, suppose there are multiple brands in the market. Amazon is there. There might be thousands other portals which are selling me the same thing. But why I'm going back to Amazon again and again? Because that gave me a good user experience and I tend to retain with the brand and not go to the other brand. So that's why user experience is very important. But sometimes what happens is, even if the industry is so big, they are improving their UX every day. Sometimes even the big brands can make mistakes. So just to start a conversation, can you just let me know which are the brands you feel are having good experiences, good user experiences, and they would never fail? Anyone? Come on, this is a discussion. Okay, so one name. Okay, go ahead. I think
Oh,
you.
sorry. I'm
Yeah.
gonna also say feel free to use the chat as well if you
Mhm.
can't use the mic. And also about your
I'm not
question.
able to see the chat because of some reason. So let me see just 1 second.
It looks like in the chat, someone asked Glossier, Tesla, Apple, and Instagram.
Okay. Nice. But I can still not see the chat right now. Let me see. Perfect. No worries. I'll proceed. I'll proceed with Google because that's what I prepared for my slides. So I'm sorry if you had something else in your mind. Yeah. So give me a second. Yeah. So I was filling a form for an event for Google. And this was the screen in which I was filling the survey we have for the a link to register for the event. And when I came to the end of the whole survey, they had a simple sign up button, and I tried to sign up and it didn't happen because I was facing an error. So I went back, scrolled way to the up and tested that is there anything missing? Is there anything which I didn't fill out, or what it is? But it was like I had done everything, but I could still not sign up for it. It was giving me an error. Then I came here and read this thing. It says that by checking this box, I confirm blah, 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 blah. So that meant that there had to be a box over there, but it was missing. Because I had filled survey in the past, I knew that there is always a box which is next to the privacy settings, which is next to the privacy content, and we have to click it. So what I did was I just zoomed in. Still no luck, but I could see some hope over here. Now I zoomed in more and now I can see a button over here. I mean, there's a checkbox over here. I tried to click it and it turned blue. So do you see how small the button is as compared to the letter B? I mean, how does Google expect me to click on that little button, which is literally impossible to see? But I had to do it. And once I clicked it and it turned blue, I was able to submit my form. So sometimes even big companies forget about, it's not that they forget about user experience, they somehow miss about it. Now, given that I have already filled so many forms in my life, I knew what could be done here. I knew the workaround. But just imagine I was filling this form for the first time and had this experience. For like 30 or 40 minutes, I would be struggling with it and give up in the end. And honestly, I would not even fill out any survey in future just because I had one bad experience. So again, one bad experience can spoil your whole brand's image, and it might not bring people back to you. Okay, just let me check the chat once. Yay, nice. Okay, so where was the dark pattern in there? There was no dark pattern. It was a small mistake. It could be fixed so easily. So before we start our discussion, we dive deep into dark patterns. I would like to ask you, what do you feel are dark patterns? Anyone, any thoughts? I'm just checking the chat. If you have anything in mind, just leave it on the chat or just unmute yourself and let me know. What do you feel are dark patterns, just by the name or just by any exposure you have about it? TikTok scrolling, yeah, nice one. Yeah. Points when user engagement can become addiction. Kind of both are correct. Yes. If it's making you addicted, it could be a dark pattern, and it is a dark pattern that what designers of the app, like how they are designing the interface so that you're not able to leave the app. And this could be using different methods. It could be something in the design, or they are using some psychological tricks. It's just keeping you there. So it could be a dark pattern. Yeah. Okay, so we will be diving deep into it. But before that, I would like to address that sometimes the term dark pattern is used interchangeably with the term deceptive patterns. And now the both terms are same, but sometimes there's a conversation in the industry which term to use, and people generally prefer to use the term deceptive patterns, but you can use it like interchangeably. So before I give you a deep dive into it, let's try a game. There's a link over here. I can share it in the chat also. And let's try to go through this website. This is a little game. And let me know what your thoughts are and what are you trying to do and what are you able to do or not able to do. I'll just give like around 2 minutes before we come back for a discussion. Yeah, so the very first comment is that you're getting stuck even at the start of the game because there's a green button. Oh my God, there's a green button which says, oh, what did it, what does it say? It says no, but it should be saying go. But to go ahead, they have something which is not very contrast with the background and it's written in very small words. The steps seem to be confusing, out of order. Yes, they do. There are a lot of password rules. Yeah. I don't even know half of the terms which they are asking me to do. There are too many pop-ups. Yes. Honestly, I can't even go through the next page. I'm still stuck here. I don't know how you guys are proceeding. Okay, yeah. It's very confusing. And I don't even know what this timer means and why are these 1, 2, 3, 4 blinking again and again. I kept spamming the click button to get in. Yeah, nice. Yes, the cancel option. I mean, in case we need to cancel, should we be clicking cancel or yes? It's very confusing. The timer is stressing me out. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I can't even figure out what the purpose of the timer is. Have you seen this help box? I tried to put in a query and put send to bottom and it just went down. Okay. Hurry up, the time is ticking. I mean, who would say that I need to complete a login form in such small time? I mean, why do even they have a timer? I don't know. And it's so difficult to close this pop-up button. Okay. Yeah. So let's come back to the presentation and so again, how was your experience playing this game? This was like pretty confusing. This was like you didn't know what to do and you even couldn't figure out what the designer is wanting from you. You want to go into certain direction, but you're going in a different direction. There are certain what do we say, nudges in the form of colors or maybe text, big text, small text, but you're not able to not able to figure out what to do. You want to go in a certain direction for maybe example next page, but it's taking you back to the same page or maybe somewhere else. It's just confusing you a lot. So this website, this game, I would say, is filled with dark patterns. And in real life, you might not find a website which is that bad, but certainly you will find a website which might have certainly included some of the elements of darkness in their application, in their website, or maybe any other product, which would confuse you, which would make you feel that I didn't want to do that. So let's come back to the meeting and let me know if you can see my presentation. Yeah.
You can see.
Okay, perfect. So again, I'll give you another example because I'm filled with examples and this is a very interesting topic for me. So you suppose you want to have dinner with your mom, but she has made veggies today and you're like 25, 26, 22, whatever. You don't want to say no to veggies, but you don't want to break your mother's heart. But your mom understands you that you do not want to eat the veggies and gives you a list of options. Now, but the options are very tricky. They say, okay, eat the veggies, choose an option. The option says yes, not no, obviously yes, and option A. So in case you do not want to eat the veggies, which option are you going to choose? Question for everyone. Now, you might feel frustrated, you might feel confused, you might feel that you're trapped in here, that you have to eat the veggies. And this is something dark patterns would make you feel in the design world. This is something what you felt when you were using the game. You wanted to do something, but you are not able to do it. But again, your mom is very smart and she kept a little option over here, which is like, okay, yeah, here, which says no. And because the option was so small, you couldn't find it out. You couldn't find an option to say no to the veggies. And this kind of a dark pattern is called a Roch motel, which means that you can enter it in very easily, but you do not know how to find a way out. So let me just give you some more examples. And this is something which we also see in the game. If you read the language over here, it's so confusing that you do not know how you might opt out of the service this Sky ID is providing. So this say the Sky may contact you about products and services you may like unless you click to opt out. What does that mean? So to opt out, should I be clicking it, or to opt in, should I be clicking it? But because generally to opt in, you have to click it. So the language is very confusing here. Again, the second one, do you want to cancel your membership? It says continue or cancel. Is the continue for canceling, or is the continue to leave the cancel option and go back to the services? It's again very confusing. Is the cancel over here meaning that you cancel this pop-up box, or does that mean that you are canceling your membership? Again, very confusing. So this is like, if you cannot convince them, just confuse them. They might come in. So you might see such kind of dark patterns in some websites. And okay, let me go to the next example and then explain you. So what are dark patterns? Dark patterns are an element of manipulative interface designed to trick the users in taking certain actions they might not have done freely. For example, you get a spam mail like this, and it says, congratulations, only you have been selected. We just selected 10 people and you are one of them. There's a timer which is ticking, like we saw in the game. The timer is creating pressure on you that you need to do action in a specific amount of time, which is very limited. And it's also giving you a social proof that 97 people have done it correctly. I mean, you are not the alone person who is getting this mail. People have already done this and people have got the rewards. So this kind of dark patterns, you might feel that, okay, I'm old enough to understand that this is a spam mail, but you might be having some family member, some relative, or like some person in your life that might still to this date fall for such patterns. They might still fall for such languages and for such scams. Now, even if you feel that again, they might not fall for that, and this is a very basic thing, think about a child. Think about a child playing a game. And when you're playing a game, you are kind of a hero. You need to save the world. You need to save everyone in the game. And in that game, if you see a pop-up like this, like claim your reward in next 10 seconds to save the world. And for that, you are asking for a prize. The child might press it because they are in the hero mode. They need to protect the world. They need to do everything which is in their control to win the game. So this is how dark patterns might actually harm you. They might steal your information, they might steal your money, they might do anything which the designer or maybe the company wants you to do. Any questions before we proceed further? Okay. You can still type in. I'll be checking the chat frequently. Now, other like we discussed the Roach Motel, we discussed the misdirection. Another type of dark pattern is confirm shaming. If you go to your Gmail or any other like email account you have, and you see the accounts you have been subscribed to, you go down, scroll it, and you find the unsubscribe button. Next time you do it, just read the language which is there with the unsubscribe button, and it's always in a confirm shaming way. What is confirm shaming? So if you see this 30% off, see how big the 30% off is and how small. No, I prefer to pay full prices. What they are doing is they are asking for your email and they are giving you a flow in which you are getting a 30% off for giving your email ID. But the other option is hidden very well over here, which is like they have made the font very small. Now read this line which says, no thanks, I prefer to pay full price. It gives you a feeling, no thanks, I'm stupid enough that I won't give you my email ID and get the 30% off because I might not want to, but I don't want to give my email ID and I don't want to take the 30% off. And the language in itself is very confirm shaming. It's shaming you for not taking the 30% off. And yeah, the option to decline also is like very small. And do you see the flow? It doesn't give you an option to choose whether you want a 30% off or not. It just directly says that we are giving you 30% off and you just have to give your email ID over here. Okay, so how do we spot a dark pattern? Like, even if I'm using my simple apps, this is a screenshot of Uber Eats. How do I spot it? And in case I feel it's a dark pattern, how do I confirm it? Firstly, dark pattern is something which is very relative. And that's the reason why it's very difficult to tag it as a dark pattern. When we say the word dark, we do not define how dark it is. It could be as dark as a phishing attempt. It could be as dark as just asking you for your email ID to update. Now, if you see this example in which Uber is saying that, okay, if you need utensils, ask us. I mean, that's the default thing. That's the default thing, that I must be getting all the utensils. I must be getting everything which is like, I need to eat the meal. Is it a dark pattern that the Uber Eats is not giving me the default option? Because default in itself has a very high power. People would go with the default option. They might not make the efforts to choose whatever is like available after that. So again, it's about the intention. Right now, the intention of Uber Eats is to save environment. They want you to not use the cutlery just because using cutlery is bad. Here, the intention is kind of good. But if you come to this other food delivery app, which I used back in India, this was Zomato. What they would do is, after I have chosen the whole food, I've like chosen the cuisine, I have added the desserts, I have done the whole payment thing, and I'm on the payment page. what they would do is they would by default add a 2 rupees, which is for charity. The intention is good that they are asking for charity, but what they are doing is by default, they're adding the 2 rupees in my account. I might not want to do it. Charity is a good thing, but having users consent for it is very important. So same thing is done by both the food delivery apps, that is adding to the defaults, but here intention is totally different. Okay, so how do we know that there is a problem? Okay. This is a very okay, let me just go to the chat first. This is a very interesting question. And the question is what you can do in case you see that there is a dark pattern. You might have identified that this is a problem. Again, this is very confusing because it's based on the intention. And finding out the intentions is really tricky. But what you can do is you must be aware as users and as designers that something can be done wrong, which is called dark patterns, and it might be used against you. Okay, so firstly, be aware of it, read articles, watch videos, do everything to at least be aware of the issue. There are certain websites and even on social media, there are certain tags which are related to deceptive patterns, dark patterns, and you can go out there and call out the companies which are using dark patterns. Other people might be able to resonate with you, and it might create a change in future. Again, as users, talk about the companies who are trying to deceive you, talk about it. And if you find that, going in the legal sense, if you find that there's a dark pattern and it's violating the law, you can actually file a complaint with the state attorney general, and they might take the whole case forward. But don't take legal advice from a sleep-deprived HCDE student. I'm not the right person for it. And again, just because we are HCD students and we are designers, maybe in next few months or for a few years, we might turn into design professionals. So what can we do? Firstly, as designers, keep your ethics high, keep the user's needs first, talk about it. Talk with your managers, talk with whoever is in your team about what can be done. In case the company asks you to include a dark pattern, be aware of it, that this might cause harm to the user. Now, what can actually be done is, in very, like, how do I say, professional terms, is design principles. Whenever you're going on a new team, discuss with the managers what the design principle of the company are, what the design principle of the team are. And if there are no design principles, sit with them, try to make a design principle, and includes users' privacy, users' concern in it. Include that. And in case there are already design principles which are discussed in the team, code them in your work. If the manager or any person in the team asks you to do something against it, go back to them and say, listen, these are the design principles we decided on, and we cannot go against it. We need to keep users' priority at the highest. Perfect. Okay, time for questions. I'm kind of done, so time for questions, and then we can discuss that what we can proceed into in the next session. For example, light patterns, gray patterns, and what next. Okay, I'm just looking at the chat. And in case you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and let me know. Okay, has anyone ever faced any dark patterns in their experience while using any app, website, product, anything?
Yeah, I faced a dark pattern with some TurboTax.
Oh my God, yes.
Like, at least with like some of their ads recently, have been very like, oh, claim now to get like these refunds. And then I've had to help my mom, and because she's not like a native English speaker, I had to translate how it's not actually a refund. It's just like how they're trying to get you to click on their stuff.
Wow. Honestly, I'm new to this country, and filling the tax for the first time was confusing for me too. And the biggest shock for me was, if there's a product which says that it's for $10, I would go out and pay $10, and they would be like, no, it's not for 10. We have added the tax and now it's for 11. I mean, that's a dark pattern for me, because that wasn't expected. If you're saying the price is at 10, give it to me at 10 or just include the taxes in the whole price. Yeah. Unsubscribing for emails. Oh my god, that is like a big task. They would be using such languages, and even if they're not using such tricky languages, they would make you go from one page to the other to maybe like 5 more, and still you won't be able to find how to unsubscribe it. So yes, some companies do that. And sign up screens, yes, and email it. So what happens was, what we have also discussed, what designers do is, whenever you're signing up for something, they would be having an opt-in box, which is always by default checked. Whenever you're filling the survey, that means the check box, if you're not clicking it off, you would be subscribed to mails, even if you didn't want to do it in the first place. Showing time limit for discount, totally. We just saw in the game also. Having a timer right next to you pressures you to do something in a very rushed manner, and you might not be able to take the right decision. You might not be able to read the fine prints and the fine lines, and you might miss information which was actually very important. Also, when you set up a business, they send you deceptive scam letters that says that you have to pay an additional fee for the licenses. Oh, it's a big concern. There's a website called deceptivepatterns.org. If you go there and check the dark patterns, I mean, that's a good site in case you feel you have encountered a dark pattern. Go out and post. You can post it there. But if you read the other posts which are over there, there are so many posts which is about the new softwares, how they charge you, how they auto enroll you in subscription, and it's very deceptive, basically. Oh yes, Canva. Okay, about Canva, there's a certain thing. Because we are UW students, we can use Canva for free, Canva Premium for free, and I didn't know that pretty recently, and since then I'm making all my presentations in Canva. But yes, Canva is like super bad. Once I'm done with my designs, at the end they would say, oh, this was paid, you can't have it, which is not the thing I want. Either you give it to me, or at least don't waste my efforts. Canceling. Oh, so again, there was a app called Focused or something, and I'm totally unsure how it subscribed me for it, and it was charging me $65 per month. And until I checked my bank balance and bank statement, I couldn't find out. And honestly, till date, I'm unsure how I got charged for it, how I got enrolled for it. And when I tried to reach them, it took me around like 2 days of phone calls just to get that thing unsubscribed. Adobe, yes. I can't even get started on Adobe. Perfect. Except cookies, they would be having such big banners on website that if I'm not accepting the cookie, I won't be able to see half of the screen. This, which is like so bad. And cookies is something which we tend to subscribe to. I'm say like accept by default. We don't even think what's behind that, and we don't even go and check that if there's a possibility to not accept the cookies, just decline them. No, these are such big banners right in front of my face that I can't see the content, and I have to like press the accept button. Perfect. Nice discussion. Nice. So that means that you have come across a dark pattern, and that's pretty bad. Okay, so maybe for the next part of the like this conversation, this discussion, we can go further into what light patterns are. Okay, what light patterns are and what are the designs which are made thinking like keeping in mind the user, and they are made in such a sense that users are so happy with it that they don't want to like change it or do anything else. But these kind of light patterns might not be very financially feasible for the companies because they need to make money out of it, and they need some kind of dark patterns to extract information out of the user so that they can use it for their benefit. And this kind of interaction leads to a pattern called gray pattern, in which the users are also kept at priority, but the business needs are also met. So in the next discussion, we can discuss what light patterns are and what gray patterns are. And again, with Chat GPT, GPT-4, and other generative AI coming up, in which you can just create your website and create the content for the website, it would be very, very interesting to see that how this like how the generative AI might include or exclude dark patterns from the websites they are creating. So that would be a great thing which we can like look forward to. So that was all from my side, and thank you so much. I'm so happy that you all came, and if there's anything else, please let me know. And in case you want to reach out to me, I can drop my LinkedIn in the chat. Where's the chat? And in case of any questions, just reach out to me, and I would be like answering your questions over there.
Great. Thank you so much, Swati, for agreeing to host this workshop today.
Thank you. It was great.
All right. And if there's no other